Hello, I'm Bill Farmer, 5th District Council member, welcoming you to another very special edition of Lexplore. Today we've come down to the Central Library. We're going to visit the Kentucky Room. I'm a map aficionado, and the Kentucky Room has plenty of them. We're going to talk with Sarah Hubbard there, and we're going to spend some time with Ann Hammond that runs the whole shooting match here. Please stay with us. Welcome back. I've come up to the third floor of the Central Library to the Kentucky Room, and I've been joined by Sarah Hubbard. Sarah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Nice to work with you. So you said your title is Kentucky Room Manager.
Yes.
I think it's more than that, but we'll go with that. So do you have a degree in library sciences or something, or what is your background in that respect?
Yes, I have a library science degree from the University of Kentucky, and I've worked in the library for many years, and 2 years ago I came over here for this.
So when we say the Kentucky Room, what does that mean?
The materials in here, it's a permanent collection, and the materials in here are intended for researchers and family researchers to come in to do. Primarily most of our materials are for this area, but we try to have something for all of the different areas of Kentucky.
Oh, sure.
Especially since Fayette County was so large.
Yes, one of the reasons we're here, there's great maps. We know I love great maps. So, do you do a lot of work back and forth with the UK library or other libraries specifically?
Yes. Most of the collaboration that we do with them tends to be, they have helped us a great deal with our digitization. We started digitizing parts of our collection a couple years ago, and we've also started doing some programming with them.
I think it's great. And then, so this room is really kind of segregated from the rest of the library, and that's to maintain its integrity or its differentness?
We try, it's also used as a quiet space. Libraries are very active, dynamic spaces, and so it is nice to have an area to offer to people who want to do quiet study.
Well, we'll be quiet and move along. So you house an archive here, which we may not delve into, but we'll look at some of the things that you have. Can we just step over here and do this?
Yes.
So you have brought out, tell us what you brought out here, 'cause this is really fun.
This is one of the rarest things that we have in our collections, that anybody has actually. This particular is the Kentucky Gazette. We have some old newspapers in our clothes stacks in the Kentucky Room. Now, the Kentucky Gazette was the first newspaper published west of the Allegheny Mountains.
Oh, really?
And our library has the second issue ever printed. To our knowledge, nobody has the first issue. So these were the newspapers that were digitized by the University of Kentucky several years ago.
May I pick this up?
Oh, absolutely.
So this is dated Saturday, August 18th, 1787. So is this the complete Gazette? Is it
Yes.
front, back?
Yes, it was front, back folded. And then later they went to a larger folded format. So you can see.
This would have been hand type set, wouldn't it? I mean,
yes.
That would have been.
Yes, it was a hand set press. And more than just the newspaper was printed on that printing press. So.
This is so interesting. I wish I could read it. The tribes of Indians had in a grand council held at Mobile declared war. This is so interesting. I can't. All right, I don't want to. If I get started, I'll read all day. So do people come and just view these or use them for other research now?
We rarely pull these out, especially since they have been digitized and are high resolution online. But I mean, our collections are for people to use for research. So most of what people are looking for may not be going quite this far back, but
no, it's wonderful to have something of that age. Now let's step down here and look at the seal. So this is something that would have been you would have used, or the library system would have used this?
Yes, the Lexington Library, when they first came into being, of course, we were not the public library at the time, it was a subscription library. And
Oh,
this
really?
was,
What's a subscription library?
you had to pay a subscription to be able to access.
Use the facility.
Yes, to be able to access the books. And sometimes it might just be a room in the back of somebody's house until they got a little bit bigger. And it didn't become a public library until the early 1800s, I want to say. I don't know the exact date for that.
So this is really a nice antique in and of itself. But it's beautifully done, and it has the seal on it, which we'll press one. But this says, "Science is the rock of liberty, Lexington Library." And then Lady Liberty's in the center there. Would you do this? You're the official librarian after all.
Yes.
Just to see. So these have gone on letters or in books or?
Books primarily to mark that they were the property
I got you.
of the Lexington Library. So,
Just so you know, you look very professional doing
well,
that.
thank you.
I love
And
it.
there you
know
go.
what? That's the best one yet. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome.
I really enjoy this. Okay, now let's have fun behind us over here. Is this a map chest, or what's the term for this conveyance?
We just call these our map drawers.
Okay, map drawers. That's easy.
Yeah, for maps and blueprints and such. We have all kinds of Kentucky maps, primarily Lexington and the central Kentucky area, of course. So we've separated out a lot of the Lexington maps, and a lot of these are reproductions of things that we may pull out of government documents, that they could be street maps, they could be reproductions from things that early surveyors drew, just whatever we think that might be useful to people as they're doing their research.
And do you get contributions? Do people give you more things as you go along?
Yes.
On a regular basis?
Yes,
or?
quite a lot of the materials in this room came from donations from the community.
How are people aware? Do they just come in with stuff and say, "Here you go," or do you establish a chain of custody, or what do you?
Sometimes, most people who donate books and materials at all of our locations, as the staff go through them there, anything they think might be useful to the Kentucky room, they will send to me. And I go through them, and we take them into consideration to add.
Well, you all had given me a nice tour up here not long ago, and you pulled out some really great things that day, and that's one of the reasons we came back, because I love maps and stuff. Well, look what she's got hidden here near the top. This is, in my mind, the first merged government map when we had the first 12 districts, because it's from that era, and I know from representing the 5th district as I have, it's much smaller in this illustration. So I think this is a really neat piece of archival material. And you had this one, because this shows, and I think it's great, all the farm names, so that you can, and they piece together, as you said.
And there's 2 more of them as well.
Oh, so you get all 4, you get the whole county.
Yes. And you can see the original farms and farm owners for the county as the surveyors went through.
I can see.
And the deeds you can get next door at the county clerk's office.
Oh yeah, that's a nice archive. That's an archive of a whole nother great source. But I see McCann on here. I see Spur. That would be kind of like Spur Road. This goes. This is out towards Athens. And then you can see Cleveland Pike out here. Kind of tough to pick up where the interstate is today, but you can see that this is what I love down here. Tate's Creek Ferry, Jack's Creek Ferry, and that's really the only ones I see up through here. Lots of toll. You were telling a little story about how the toll house is getting robbed or something.
Right, yeah. I mean, as you go through and do research in our old newspapers, a lot of times you'll see different articles, and you'll see quite a few articles about toll houses being robbed.
All right, let's rummage a little bit more, and then we'll be done here. Because you see this one a lot. I do anyway. Any derivation of this published by somebody, Palminteri? But I always liked the look of this. This was like something that would have been in London, not here. I don't know. That's enough. We're good. Thank you for showing this to me.
Oh, you're very welcome. I love to show off our space.
Well, we're going to take a pause, and then we'll relocate. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We have moved to, what is this room?
Conference Room D.
The aptly named Conference Room D, and I've been joined by Ann Hammond, who's the Executive Director of the Library System. Ann, is that correct? What term would you use for?
Executive Director. That's it.
I have to compliment the job you do and the job that the library does across the city. I mean, I don't know how it's ranked, but it's very friendly and very much a part of our vibrant community. So
It is.
thank you.
That's our goal. So.
Oh, under your tenure, did the new library on the east side come in?
That we opened in 2016.
Yeah. That was a neat, what a nice repurposing.
Isn't that wonderful?
Well, it made something, Eagle Creek was nice. This is better, you know?
Yes.
And you're finding adaptive reuses for this building too.
Right.
It
That's
strikes
our
me.
goal.
And it's more people friendly, more user friendly, and
It is.
there's a lot going on, even when school's in session.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're going to be doing a long-term facilities plan. We're working on that this fall so that we can really understand how the community uses our libraries and how we can better serve them.
Oh, that's great. So that'll be kind of a very specific outreach to kind of plumb the depths of.
Right. We'll be talking to a lot of different people in the community to figure out how we can best meet the needs and the goals of the community.
Well, I was referencing change in the library and the way it's used, or the change in the way the senior citizen center is used. In your profession, I mean, how do you term the change for what libraries used to be versus what they're becoming? Is there do we just think about it in terms of different use?
Yeah, I mean, the goal is to serve the community in the best way possible to meet the educational and entertainment and social, cultural needs of the community. And those needs change over time, you know, just as anything changes.
That's a broad spectrum.
It's very broad, yeah.
And it's way more than just looking at magazines or checking out books.
Yeah,
And you seem to be catering to that on every floor here in a different way.
in a different way. Yeah. And each of our locations has a focus for that particular community. Like the Village branch is focused on homework help and services to the Latino community.
Yes.
Northside branch is focused on digital studio and computer services.
It is, you're right. It's very technical there.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I have to say, with my mom, I've been to every branch of the library and we've checked out something or used something, maybe with the exception of the Plaza branch. But we enjoy each one of the libraries. In fact, oddly, I was somehow asked to speak or something at the opening of the Tates Creek Library. And in a weird way, I took my mom with me to that
Wonderful.
day. And she had a big time. That was kind of one of the ways we got into how we use the library.
Right.
All right, let's go back to that. So how will your outreach go for people who want to give input about the library that they want versus the one they have? Will that be a public call in some capacity?
It will be. So we're starting with, at the end of August, so actually next month.
Okay.
Next week.
Yes, ma'am.
We will have a big community advisory committee meeting, and we've invited particular people who represent different viewpoints or different areas of expertise to give us input. So that committee will meet probably 2 to 3 times over the course of the fall.
Okay.
We're also going to do a much larger strategic vision workshop in October.
Great.
We'll be inviting even more people to participate in that.
Wow.
Beyond that, we'll do focus groups, we'll do open community meetings at each of the locations and at various places around town, like the Farmers Market, other places where people might be gathering. We want to hear from people who are currently using the libraries, and we also want to hear from people who are not using the library.
Oh, that's your untapped resource,
Yes.
so to speak. So it's easiest to follow this on the library website?
Library website will be the best place. We'll put a lot of information there. We'll have an online survey as well.
So
I'd like to.
what is it, lexingtonpubliclibrary.com? I do not know.
It's lexpublib.org. So lexpublib.org.
You did the best, thank you. Well, we'll look forward to that. And then you'll turn those things and then have some sort of product after the first of the year sometime?
Probably be in the spring. Yeah, we'll do put together a report and present to the library board.
And then they'll have the opportunity to kind of task around on it, or
Yeah, if we determine that we need to make changes in our locations or add locations, that would be the purview of the library board to
Oh, good.
figure out how we do that.
well, I mean, I don't know all the members. I know some of them.
You do.
And I know that the mayor appoints and the council confirms. So it's a fine group and
It is.
very dedicated. I mean, you have a dedicated board. You have a dedicated volunteer base too
do.
that love the library in all of its ways.
We're lucky in that.
It's a neat resource that not maybe every city gets to have because there's a storied place for the library.
Yes.
Because I remember going to it when I was at the Carnegie up there, and we got to see the seal over there, which was fun.
Yeah,
Anything else going on? Your outreach is really the most important thing.
it is.
I'm glad. We're glad to help that. We'll hype it through this.
We've got things going on all the time, so take a look at the website anytime and see what's happening.
Thank you for taking your time with me today.
Thank you so
I appreciate it very
I
much.
appreciate you coming here.
I'm Bill Farmer for Lexplore. We're always glad to come and hear a new story or find out about a place that nobody else has been. Don't hesitate to call me. Thank you very much.